Hey there, welcome to the Bernie Dialer Quick Start training. This is going to be a very brief walkthrough on how to use the Bernie Dialer. Let's get started. So why the Bernie Dialer is so important. Getting Bernie to the White House and taking on the billionaire class is going to take a monumental effort, but we know that when we organize, we win. Bernie is back in 2020 and our movement is stronger than ever. But we know that so many people are undecided about their presidential candidate and so many new supporters have become interested in Bernie. Our mission is to identify new and previous supporters and turn them out to vote. And we're going to need to make millions of calls all across the country to do that. And that's exactly why we're using the Bernie Dialer in 2020, just like we did in 2016. We know that phone calls are an extremely effective method of communication, building relationships, and motivating people to get out and vote. We also know that the Bernie Dialer is more effective than any other calling tool on the market. It simply allows us to call exponentially more people than any other tool out there. The Bernie Dialer was a huge key for our success in 2016 and is going to be a huge key to our success in 2020. This is how we win. This is how we get to the White House. This is how we take on the billionaire class. So, what do you need to make calls? This is pretty simple. You either need a laptop or a desktop computer. You can also use a tablet, though it's not quite as easy because it's a smaller screen. You're going to need a cell phone. You're also going to need headphones. At least it's strongly suggested that you use headphones while making calls on the Bernie Dialer. You're also going to need some free time and a smile. So how to use the Bernie Dialer. First, I want to cover some typical login issues. There are two typical error messages. Number one, invalid password. Number two, agent not found. Some of the things that lead to that error message are A, copying extra spaces in the username or password. Be careful to not copy any extra spaces when entering your username or password. Also, please do not try to use username or password from any days previous that you may have logged into the Bernie Dialer. The Bernie Dialer resets the usernames and passwords every single day, so you simply cannot use login information from any other calling days. You need to get a new username and password every single day. So the third issue that you might run into is if nothing new appears on the screen after you have logged in. If you log in and nothing appears on the screen, it's very likely that a pop-up blocker is not showing the LiveVox login window. If that's the case, be sure to turn your pop-up blocker off. So, what does it look like to successfully log in to the Bernie Dialer? Let's walk through this here. First, you're going to enter your name, email, and phone number. You're then going to copy the login and then the password and paste those into the agent sign-in box. You'll click next. Now you're logged in. Great. So next you select the correct service and click sign in, and LiveVox will prompt you to call in to the Bernie Dialer. So you're going to go ahead and call this number on your cell phone. You're going to enter your PIN number, and now you'll be logged in. The Bernie Dialer is going to start sending you calls. So let's talk a little bit about what that looks like. Here is what the script looks like for the Bernie Dialer. This is what is called dynamic scripting. This new method of scripting in the Bernie Dialer makes calling much easier, only showing parts of the script that are relevant to the voter that you are speaking to. But there are a few caveats here. It's absolutely critical that you click through each part of the script, even if you have it memorized. the campaign uses these buttons to track the data for the voter that you are speaking to. This is where we collect all of the information on the calls that you make. So you're going to run through the script, introduce yourself, ask them the questions that it prompts on each section of the script, and then you're going to wrap up the call. Great. Another important note is that as soon as you hear the beep, that means that the call is connected. Start speaking as soon as you hear the beep. So how do we end the call? Awesome. So now that you've had a successful call with the voter, you're going to notice that there's two drop-down boxes on the left-hand side. So you're going to completely fill out the script on the right-hand side. Great. Now there's two drop-down boxes on the left-hand side. There's a term code drop-down and a recent. You're going to want to make sure and click the term code drop-down. In that drop-down, there are going to be three available options. Talked to correct person. This means that if the script prompted you to speak to Patrick and you spoke to Patrick, whether they were a strong supporter supporting somebody else, or they were not available to speak, or they weren't, or they had moved, any of those options, if you spoke to the correct person, you're going to select talked to correct person. If you called that number and Patrick's roommate answered, you're actually going to select no contact. If you did not speak to the correct person, select no contact. If the person had moved, if the person was not home, any of those options, you're going to select no contact. You'll also notice that in the drop-down recent, the Bernie dialer is going to only have a couple of options available. Sometimes it's one, sometimes it's two. If you want to see all of the codes, which you normally do, you're going to need to select term codes in that drop-down there. So the third option there is, of course, remove number, do not call. If when you spoke to, say, Patrick, and Patrick says, please never call me again, take me off of your list, etc., you're going to select do not call. Great. So logging out of the Bernie dialer is relatively simple. When you're done with your call and you're ready to log out, just select not ready in the pop-up box, and then you'll just simply X out of the dialer. So not ready, right there to the right, not ready, save, and exit out at the top. All right, and one last note here is if you are looking for support when you're making calls, if you got stuck on something, if you have a question, you can just visit the Bernie dialer landing page, which you should have received over email. Here you can find all of the support you need for the Bernie dialer. You can check out the tab that says Need Help. First, you can join the call team Slack. We also have a quick start guide. We also have a how to end your call guide, and soon enough, we will have live chat support available right here on the Bernie dialer landing page. So if you need help, don't worry, there is an outlet. It's right here on the Bernie dialer landing page. We are happy to help you. And if this fails and you still find that you need help, just email info@berniesanders.com and we'll get back to you as soon as possible with an answer. Thanks so much. Thanks for making calls on the Bernie dialer. We look forward to making history with you again in 2020.